Well, and hello. I'm thrilled to have you today. My name is Josh Johnson, and we're going to talk about a couple of things: the ongoing blast of Arctic air that we're dealing with right now, an additional wave of Arctic air that is on the way to the state for the upcoming weekend. That's going to be a big problem for a lot of you. And the setup for someone in the southeast to deal with more wintry weather. And I'll tell you up front right now, I don't know that that's Alabama. I think that may be areas east of here, but it bears watching anyway, no doubt. So, okay, let's get straight to the maps here. We'll begin with the morning run of the GFS. And I'm going to go into a lot of these today. We're going to go into the ensembles, which is what professional meteorologists use to predict the weather, by the way. Any weenie with a weather connection can figure, with an internet connection, can find the operational runs of the models and put it all over the world. But for those of us who do this for a living, we make that living in the ensemble world, which I'll share with you in just a moment. So it is bitterly cold now. It stays cold for a big chunk of the week. The pattern is such. See the big trough up here. Let's make the mouse pointer big because that's always fun. Boom. So you've got the big trough up here running from the Great Lakes back down to Texas. Arctic air spilling in. This is today. This is this afternoon. This is right about now, in fact. So you go forward here. Another little reinforcement of Arctic air arrives on Wednesday. It is cold then, too. Not as cold as it is right now, but this is just going to be a cold week. Highs in the 40s to near 50, overnight lows in the teens tonight, and mainly 20s after tonight. Then you get to Thursday night, and the next, you get a 1050 Arctic high here north of Minnesota. Little shortwave dropping into the Red River Valley, and little precip popping there in southern Arkansas. Now, the morning run of the GFS kind of suppresses that. You end up popping a storm down here in the Gulf, but a lot of it doesn't really get going until it comes off the southeast coast over the Atlantic over here. And then this would be a snow producer for eastern Georgia up through the Carolinas. And we would turn ridiculously cold Saturday night, Sunday, and Monday. I'm talking as cold or colder than we are right now, which we're ridiculously cold right now. This may go into the realm of disrespectful cold. So that's the GFS scenario and solution to this whole thing. Let me show you the Euro. The Euro is rolling out as we speak. So this is the 12Z run, the morning run, the Monday morning run of the European computer model. Same thing, bitterly cold now and tonight. Dry, little reinforcement of cold on Wednesday with a little upper level shortwave. See the little dip in the dashed blue lines there? Those are the 1,000 to 500 millibar thickness lines. Bottom, it doesn't really mean much to you. It's just it turns a little colder. Then you get out to the period of interest here, and yeah, you've got a little moisture. You've got a surface low down here in the Gulf. It really, same thing that the GFS does, though. It really doesn't ramp it up until it gets over here over the Florida Peninsula. So if you're looking for snow in Alabama right now, you need the models to trend about 12 to 24 hours faster with the development of the surface low. And look, that could happen. We're still talking 5 days from now. And models can and do shift. And I'll tell you, history tells you, experience tells you, this last storm tells you, sometimes when they shift back north or northwest. And if that happens in this setup, you're going to see a forecast for wintry weather across a big part of the southeast. As is, I think, with the data we have right now, we can pretty confidently say we're trending towards the idea of some wintry weather in eastern Georgia, the Carolinas, eastern Tennessee, and perhaps up the East Coast. That's going to be a really interesting part of this thing is once this thing bombs out off the Carolina coast, does it go out to sea or up the East Coast and bring big snow up into New York and Boston? No one knows yet. No computer knows, right? And I want to emphasize this point that what we're talking about in this video is not a forecast. A forecast is something that tells you who gets what and when and how much and how it will affect you. We are not able to do that yet. All we're able to do 5 days in advance of a deep south winter weather deal is show you ideas and trends and scenarios and talk you through these. Once we get to within 3 days, we can tell you who gets what and when. And I think we did a very good job of that this last storm system. 3 days out, we were telling you no ice around here. It's going to stay north and northwest of us. It's rainy. If it keeps trending north, we may look at a severe weather threat, which sure enough we did. So understand when you see this sort of thing, because what happens here, a lot of you see these maps posted, these snowfall maps 6 days out, and you think it's a forecast, and it's not. It's one computer model's idea. It is a scenario. In a lot of cases, it's the craziest, most unlikely scenario because the person who shared it on social media is trying to manipulate you so that the Facebook and TikTok and all those algorithms give them money. So seek out context. If it's past 3 days from now, seek out context. Don't make those weather-related decisions based on some crazy piece of data. So that's the Euro. Then we'll go into the ensembles, and for the uninitiated, the ensemble is like the choir. What I've shown you so far in this video is like a soloist. It's a solo singer. It's one singer. But what I'm about to show you is the choir. This is if you take each physics-based computer model and you average it together, you rerun it with one thing tweaked, and then you rerun it a second time with another thing, another variable tweaked, and then you blend those together like a choir. That's exactly what this is. So this would be total snowfall off of the GFS ensemble. I'll begin there. And again, understand none of this is a forecast. This is a scenario. This is an idea. So yeah, it shows kind of what you would expect it to show. If this were to trend back west, as a few of the ensemble members show, you could get Alabama in the mix. But the more likely wintry weather concerns would be up here into eastern Georgia and the Carolinas and East Tennessee, based again on what we know now. This is all for this upcoming weekend, around January 31st into February the 1st. See the timestamp right up here. That's Monday 0Z. That's actually Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that's the GFS ensemble. Not a lot of support for snow in Alabama. Lots of support for snow in the Carolinas, eastern Georgia, and eastern Tennessee, and probably up through Virginia as well. So then the Euro ensemble. Let's dive into this world. We'll walk you through this. Again, no wintry weather at all for a while. And then I think the Euro ensemble, it has more of those choir members singing some snow back into parts of especially northeast Alabama, and then much of north central Georgia, and then the Carolinas just get hammered with snow. Now look, again, this is just, these are scenarios, these are ideas, these are trends. If you're looking for a forecast, I don't have one for you yet for the chance of snow. I can tell you it's going to be ridiculously cold this weekend. But forecasting snow in Alabama, anything past 3 days is really never a forecast. It's going to be an idea, a trend, or a scenario. This is the idea of an ensemble run of computers. It will shift. This is all going to change. I don't want you to look at the specific numbers or colors on this map. We're looking at the idea here. The idea here is an area of low pressure gets formed down here in the northeastern Gulf and throws some moisture back up over some cold air. It's probably going to end up producing snow up here in the Carolinas. There's a long shot chance back into Alabama. And speaking of chances, one graphic that I love for this sort of thing is these are the percentages. This is the percent chance that we get an inch of snow out of this. And you'll notice this peaks across East Alabama at around 10 to 12% Saturday night to Sunday morning. The numbers back in the Carolinas are already up to 50 or 60%. So again, from a confidence standpoint, look, there's not a lot of support in this idea of it snowing in Alabama this weekend. Even in the ensemble data, I think you're going to need to see a northwest shift to get Alabama into a scenario where snow becomes possible, if not likely, for the weekend. If you are in eastern Georgia on up to the Carolinas, I think you're already in a pretty good spot for that. You don't necessarily need a shift or a change. You're already in kind of that catbird seat there. So that's the deal with the snow angle of this. Let me show you this too. A couple of the other things we look at. This is the AI version of the European computer model. So that means it's really a lot of machine learning. It's taking previous setups that look like this and extrapolating out what happened in those. And would you look at that? No snow in Alabama, massive snowstorm, East Georgia, East Tennessee, up through the Carolinas this weekend. So You see the trend here. See the consensus idea right now. And again, none of it. We are not. This is not a forecast. None of this is a forecast. A forecast is a human-produced product that tells you who gets when and what and how much and what you need to do to prepare for it. We can't do that for snow around here until inside of 3 days. That's just the way it is. But what we can do is talk ideas and scenarios and trends because it's interesting, right? I mean, you're watching this video, you're probably interested in it. You do not need to go buy sleds anywhere right now because these are all just ideas and trends and scenarios. That's the Euro AI. Here is the American AI model, kind of based on the GFS. Let's not use 10 to 1. We'll use the Kuchera method, which is mostly good. Has some limitations. And look at there. No snow here, East Georgia through the Carolinas. So there's really good ensemble agreement in the idea of some snow, essentially east of I-75 in Georgia, on up through the Carolinas. There is weaker signal for snow making it back into Alabama. However, another thing that we look at are the trends. So let me walk you through this. And what we'll do here, that's the GFS. I wanted the AI GFS. Yeah. So it does not show explicit snow amount. So what we're looking at here is how much precipitation falls in general. But the idea on it, quite frankly, is exactly the same. This is, you see the deal down here in the Gulf, moisture there. It stays suppressed of Alabama, and then as that low pressure bombs going up Florida and off the coast of the Carolinas, you get some heavier precip there. But even there, frankly, it is not quite as heavy as the operational GFS. So I want to go back to the Euro ensemble here and go back to snowfall. So another thing that we professional weather geeks do on this, you look at the trend in the data, right? So for instance, we'll look at the trend. Let's just do total because then we'll know where we're going apples to apples. So this is the Euro ensemble. The mean, when we average the choir together, what's the voice we hear? So what we like to do sometimes is look at what it has done over the last few runs. That's what this map does. So this map, you look at the previous few runs, and remember a lot of what you see up here from older runs, that's the snowstorm that just happened. So ignore a lot of that, and that may be. So really, this run would be where we start looking at almost exclusively this over here. So look, over this was the 12Z run yesterday. The 1-inch line was in the Carolinas. The 0Z run last night, that 1-inch line made it back to the Atlanta metro, and now it's back into East Central Alabama. So I do think there is some trend in the Euro ensemble data towards a more Western solution, right? We'll check the American ensembles and see what they look like. Again, if you're here for a forecast, we don't have one for you, and we won't for a few more days. If we're talking about the chance of snow or ice in the deep south, we can't do that inside of 3 days. All we can do here is talk trends, ideas, and scenarios. You don't need to do anything with this information other than be interested in it. Don't go buy sleds. Do not go buy bread and milk. None of that. Just understand I'm just spitballing, showing you guys what the computers are kind of popping here. So the American is it's a little noisier. If anything, maybe a signal more into the Carolinas, and still not a lot of support for it back into Alabama. So that's the wintry weather angle to this. The other big story here is just how ridiculously cold it's going to get. Let me show you this. This is we'll use the Euro. Actually, I just want to use the operational Euro here, and we need to go back to single image. Okay, so I'll go back here. So ridiculously cold tonight. That's the first thing you need to know. The raw data gets us down to around 20 degrees. It will be colder than what you see here. This is tonight. This is valid sunrise Tuesday morning. And when the raw data's upper teens and low 20s, I think you can knock another 5 to 8 degrees off that. We're in the mid-teens. Remember, models struggle with shallow cold air masses, and that's exactly what this is. So then highs in the 40s, lows in the 20s is the recipe for almost all of the week. We could get into the 50s on Thursday and or Friday, depending if we get lucky or not. And then the Arctic gates open up, and look at this. These are actual air temperatures, not wind chill. This is for Saturday morning, January the 31st, around 15 at Montgomery, low teens in our northern counties. And you go up in North Alabama, north of Birmingham, you're in the single digits as far south as Fayette and Walker County and on up into the Tennessee Valley. That's 120 hours out. So what I'll do here, we'll stop at that single frame and we'll do a model comparison, right? So what we'll do with this is basically just go through each model and look at what it's showing. What we look for here is